Welcome to another edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline at Sips Sports Bar, 3024 West Liberty Avenue, 15216. That's downtown Dormont. We got a great crowd here. They're all coming in from outside. It's so hot out there. The drinks are cold in here. I don't know if you can say that on TV, but Brandy and Kelly are serving them up. Heck of a job here.
Don't forget to tip your waitress.
Yes, early and often there. And I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine, Smoking Jim Frazier, Chip the Prophet Hayner. Thanks for watching the show. We're on Verizon 32 everywhere, Comcast 7 only in Bethel Park, YouTube all over the world, I hear. And we have Pittsburgh Sportsline on Facebook. So don't forget to like us. We were at 362. I'm going to have to check with Devin a little later to see if it's holding at that. But thanks to everybody liking us there. And now we got the North American Unicycling Convention and Competition. We've been announcing this for about 3-4 months. Next week starts it off. Devin Shea is going to be bringing the camera and chauffeuring me in a Mustang out to Butler. And I said it right, Mustang, correct?
Make sure you drive so you get there.
We'll be filming on Wednesday and doing some interviews out there with Dave Crack, hopefully Dr. Trina Hess, and anybody else competing. We're going to check it out there. And then Smoking Jim and I, you have the Junior Football Association, Jim Gasteb. We're going to get a hold of him. Sunday, July 28th, they do a South Park car cruise and everything. It all goes to the Young Football Association. Great thing there at the South Park Fairgrounds, so stay tuned there. Starts 11 o'clock in the morning, Smoking Jim. We don't have to stay there all day, though, I heard. I just talked to Dave Cable. So that's some of what's going on. For all you regulars, we normally do our What's on Our Mind. For the people that don't know, that's what we do. What's on Our Mind is our opening segment. But I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to change it up a little bit. We got a little special announcement. We have a couple guests here, and one of them is a great ring announcer. And I don't know if Frank's in the background here, but where's Brandy at, too?
Ladies and gentlemen of Sips Sports Bar, Dormont, West Liberty Avenue, we're about to go down. We're about to bring it down right here. We got a special event. We got a special presentation. Our wonderful girl, Brandy, is in the back kitchen. She's coming to you live from the kitchen.
Where's she at?
Special announcement from the Bethel Park Bakery. We have cupcakes for the man Smoking Jim Frazier. Happy birthday, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Jim. Oh, we got him.
And don't touch those 3 cupcakes. This is Batman, folks.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Thanks, Kelly.
Need a little
Thanks,
help rolling
Brandy.
out, Jim.
And thanks, Frank's going to be a guest on a little bit later here. So you get to see the interview with him. Happy birthday, buddy. I know it's not till Wednesday.
Happy birthday, my friend.
You better make a wish. Make a wish.
Hold it. Let's
Yeah, because I don't
let
like
him
these
make a
waxy
wish.
cupcakes.
36, 24, 36.
No, it's 3024 West Liberty Avenue. Take one. There's Batman. I got a special Batman for you.
Thank you. Thanks, Al.
You're welcome. Happy birthday, buddy.
Happy birthday, my friend.
And you can take them all or you can share some. So
I'll share.
Okay. And now, now we'll go to What's on Our Mind. Chip the Prophet Hayner, what's on your mind, buddy?
Well, thanks, Alan, and again, happy birthday to my friend Smoking Jim Frazier. You're not getting older, you're just getting better, my friend. But what's on my mind? It's All-Star Week here in the major leagues, and we got Pedro Alvarez in the home run hitting contest tonight. So let's root on our local product here. But Pedro Alvarez has done something that only 2 other Pirates have done in the history of the Pittsburgh Pirates. He's hit 24 home runs by the All-Star break, and the other 2 guys that have achieved this event are 2 Hall of Famers, Ralph Kiner and Willie Stargell. So
Wow.
Pedro's in some pretty good company there. Another thing to point out about the All-Star Game is this is the first time since 1972 that 5 Pittsburgh Pirates have made it to the All-Star game. 1972, we had Roberto Clemente, Manny Sanguillen, Steve Blass, Willie Stargell, and Al Oliver playing for the National League All-Stars. So let's acknowledge, what we got going on here with the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah.
But the last thing that's on my
There's a
mind,
Pirate
Alan,
fan out there. Look at that.
yeah, look at this. The last thing that's on my mind, Alan, there was a travesty of justice that happened this weekend. George Zimmerman was found not guilty of killing Trayvon Martin, and everybody knows that he shot and killed the young man, and that's a very tragic event, and it's even more tragic that that he's walking away from it, especially when you consider that Plexico Burris shot himself and he got 2 years in jail. That's what's on my mind.
Wow. Well, again, these opinions reflect the individuals here and are not part of BPTV, but this is America, so that's why we have juries and courts and laws and everything else, and eventually they'll get straightened out whatever way it should be. So, Smoking Jim Frazier, I know I distracted you here, but what's on? Oh, Batman.
Oh, he's blinking out.
What's on your mind?
That's Batman bling.
Batman.
Batman bling.
Hey, thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
Hold it.
you got to see Levine.
All right.
Just a couple things real quick. I tell you what, I am so honored to have my best friend in the audience, my main man. We go back a lot of years. I tell you what, there's so many things we did over the years that we can't share with the general public, but one thing I can say is one time he took me into a all-Irish bar called Murphy's. I think you had to have 19 pass codes, a secret handshake and everything else, and I think I was the only black in the history of Murphy's in there, and I felt right at home when the owner said, "Do you play softball?" I said, "I'm in." But I tell you what, he was the best lifting partner I ever had. And I tell you what, if you want to walk down the dark alley, you want to walk down the alley with him. He got mad heart and he always had your back. Please give a big hand for my man, Chris Rudder. Also, every time I come here, always look forward to my main man, Dan, the man that makes the best coffee anywhere on the planet. So if you want some good coffee, order some because Dan, the man that made it. And also, always take care of your bartenders and waitresses. Brandy, wave to all your fans. She is one of the nicest, most polite, professional young ladies I ever met. And I can't say enough about the owner that has us here every week. Give a big round of applause for Mark in the house.
What about Tina?
Hi, Tina.
Where'd Tina go?
I saw Tina.
Listen, I'm too young to remember Roberto Clemente, Willie Stargell, and Honus Wagner, but my favorite pirate of all time has always been Andy Van Slyke. Right now, my favorite pirate is El Toro, Pedro Alvarez. I tell you what, this is a young man that was born in the Dominican Republic. He grew up in New York City, in Manhattan, in a little place called Washington Heights. Now, I was in Washington Heights, and I tell you what, if Spanish is not your first, second, and third language, you're going to have a hard time getting out of there. In fact, you have an easier time leaving Aaron Hernandez's house alive than you do Washington Heights lead-free. But I tell you what, one thing about players from the Dominican Republic, eventually they will break your heart. In 2006, the All-Star game was here in the city of Pittsburgh, and I was assigned to Dominican Republic superstar Alex Rodriguez, A-Rod. And as me and A-Rod walked from High Top Sports Bar down the red carpet all the way to PNC Park, I tell you what, there was not a bigger superstar in baseball in 2006 than Alex Rodriguez. But as I look back on it now, I shouldn't have walked in front of Alex. I should have walked behind A-Rod. That way I could have stared at all the steroid zits that covered his entire back. I tell you what, Reggie Jackson, Babe Ruth, Hank Aaron, and if El Toro keeps his nose clean and stop drinking the water in the Dominican Republic, he he could go down in history as one of the all-time great sluggers.
Thanks, Smoking Jim. I didn't know you were on the Pirate bandwagon. I read a lot of that stuff on Facebook, and I'm not seeing that. A lot of these guys are haters out there, buddy. I'm trying to defend you. It's very difficult out there. But what's on my mind is I'm going to go back to an All-Star game. Back in 1974, I ended up getting tickets with a few guys that I worked with at the Pittsburgh Press. And we got the last seats at the top of, 551 or something, right near where the flagpole was. We couldn't hardly even see the game from up there. Wow. And we didn't stay for the whole game because those seats were just too high up there, Smoking Jim. But that's what my memory of the All-Star game back from 1974 at 18 years old.
I was at the same game in the same nosebleed heaven. Yes, I was.
See that? Us Pittsburgh guys, we got all those seats. Oh, it was something else there. They were selling All-Star Cokes. I'll never forget the guy saying All-Star Cokes. I still can hear that. You know, when you're a young, impressionable man. Then I saw some guys pouring rum in those All-Star Cokes. So you should have seen the guys walking down those aisles back in the day. And that's what's on my mind.
You could have got better seats if you'd have seen some of my brothers with the cardboard signs, tickets two together.
Yeah, but they were separate. One was down on the field and one was up top. Well, thanks for watching our What's on Our Mind. We're going to go to our next segment, which is we bring guests on our show. John Galeza, our fantasy baseball guy, coming out of the Farmers Insurance Valley of TV.
What's up, guys?
John, welcome back.
Hey, it's been a while. I'm doing great.
Once again,
oh, no.
His hair is perfect. Dude, how do you do that?
I don't blow dry it.
Hey,
I just
John,
let it
that's
dry
wind
on
tunnel testing.
natural.
That is unbelievable, wow.
12 cups of green tea, vitamins,
You gotta
try
get
to
a job
stay in shape.
working for the Weather Channel.
No, because I like to be
Hurricane
right once in a while.
It is nice, though.
Well, thank you. Thank
Whoever
you.
brushes it does a really good job.
Thank you. I do. I do well. Where's your brush?
It's
Oh, sorry.
Airbrush.
I started parting my hair on the other side. Can't you tell?
I was going
I
to
see it
about
now.
that.
Yeah. I thought that was that surgery they did there on you.
No, that's.
Was
later.
it successful?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We better talk some fantasy baseball here. How are you doing in your fantasy league? That's my first question. Since
Badminton? Are we here to talk badminton?
what season is this, Chip? Help our guest out.
No, fantasy baseball. Yeah, I got first place in one league, second place in the other league.
Really?
Honest to goodness, if I could do my job as well as I do fantasy baseball, I'd be.
What is your job?
I don't know.
Okay.
Fantasy baseball, as far as I'm concerned.
That was a softball, folks.
Seeing that I'm on the computer looking at my rosters half the day, you didn't hear that.
This is broadcast all over the world.
Oh, really?
And people are liking
That's
us
all
on
right.
Facebook, Pittsburgh Sports Line on Facebook. 362 and another drink
Oh,
just
my
went
gosh.
down. Thanks, Stephanie,
way.
for the support.
But yeah, baseball. Let's talk baseball.
All
What do you
right,
want to talk?
let's talk.
Baseball? What about
So,
baseball?
how many players did you have that you got rid of? Because you gave us all these players and
I will
scenarios.
say this. I have El Toro on both teams.
Wow.
And he is
Tearing it up.
At times, extremely painful to watch.
Yes.
Early in the season when he was hitting 190, I mean, every day it was like, don't drop him, don't drop him, don't drop him. Now when he's, and I'll tell you what, man, if that guy hits 250 and 40 home runs, I'll take the strikeouts all day
Dave
long.
Kingman, reincarnated.
Yep. Well, Dave Kingman only hit like
I
235,
know.
they said.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And he didn't need to hit more than that.
I don't mind
He
being
hit
wrong once in a
35 or
while
40
for
home
El
runs
Toro.
every year.
Absolutely. But you know the coolest thing, and we were talking about this before the show a little bit, this is the first time, if you really think about it, I mean, I've been a Pirate fan for ever. And I mean,
Yeah.
70, 71, I was the last time I was, old enough to recognize what was going on.
Right.
But, it's the trade deadline coming up, and this is actually the first time where, they always say at the trade deadline, are you really one or two players away?
Right.
And for the first time, they really are only one or two players away. So the question is, The question is, do you make that big move? Do you salvage the future, or at least some of the future, to get that big name right now?
It depends on what somebody's offering. I know they're listening to what people are offering, and it's got to make sense for now and moving forward for the future. I don't think they're going to end up giving away too much of that young talent in their system, but they will part with some of it.
Yeah, they got a whole lot of young talent down there, though. I mean, they can afford to. You got to give up something to get something.
Yeah, there's no question about that.
Because all I know is Travis Snyder. He was on my fantasy team.
Was he?
Dropped.
Well, I wondered because you did pick a few of the players.
Yeah, Jose Tabet. I mean, I think Jose Tabet is really good off the bench, but every day I think he's exposed tremendously.
Well, and they're giving him a chance right now. I think they're giving him his final chances. Are you gonna be the right fielder or not? And I think he's not passing that exam right now with shining colors. I mean, he's got a decent batting average, but he's giving you no power. In the right field, you got to get some power production out of your right field. You got to get home runs. You got to get RBIs, and he's not doing either of those things.
And where's his arm at, too? He's in shape. He looks in shape this year.
Who, Jose?
Yeah.
Better than he was, yeah.
Right,
I mean,
but his arm's still weak, and
he's running harder. The other thing everybody talks about is right field, but I'm wondering if they need to add a pitcher because Garrett Cole, I mean, there's no question.
You mean like a starting pitcher?
Yeah, Garrett Cole was without question their future, in my opinion. I mean, he's going to be awesome. But right now, I mean, he's only 22, and he's really raw. Do I really want to see him there in Game 1 of the NLCS? I mean, right now, I consider him to be, he's a thrower.
Right.
He's like, here it is, I'm going to throw it 98. If you can hit it, good. If not, that's okay too. And eventually these guys will hit it.
So, John, let's play what if, okay? Say, what if we were going into the first game of a playoff series? Would you start Burnett or Francisco Liriano?
Probably Burnett. Although the good thing is, usually on the best teams, if you have 3 horses that you can put out there in a championship series, that's really all you need because you don't usually go 4 deep in a playoff series.
No, you don't.
So if you can go Burnett, Liriano, and Locke, then you're just going to start to cycle over again. You're not going to need 4 starters.
Good point.
They're really in better shape than like the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! I mean,
well, the thing that's really crazy is they've always said that any starting 5 rotation, if they got a good left-hander, they're in a good place. If you've got 2 starting left-handers, you're in a great place. But if it wasn't for Wandy Rodriguez being injured, we'd have 3 starting left-handers, which is like basically unheard of in baseball. There's not that many good left-handers, and to have that many on one staff. Wandy Rodriguez would, he's a bulldog. He's a battler, and he was pitching very well before he went down with his mysterious ailment of his elbow.
I'm not so sure he's going to be back. I
overheard you two talking about that. So.
Yeah, I think when you get that, what do they call it, the platelet-rich injection? Yes. I take that as like the...
You're a doctor on the side, too.
Yeah,
not only does he sell insurance, but he's a doctor.
Sports medicine.
That strikes me as like our last-ditch effort to see if this will work before we put him under the knife.
Can you explain, is that like stem cells that Peyton Manning got?
A-Rod knows about platelet-rich injections.
Wow.
He's gotten a few of those.
Yeah, you got him down at Biogenesis Clinic.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get some doctors to call into our Tuesday night show to explain this process to me.
Absolutely. But you know what? Good point, too, with Russell Martin. You put a starting left-handed pitcher who can hold runners on better, plus Russell Martin, the way he's throwing guys out. I mean, it's unbelievable. I was so naive last year to how bad our catching was. When you see Russell Martin.
And I'd say for the first half of the season that he is definitely the Pirates MVP, more so than Pedro.
Him throwing guys out 50+%.
He has made so much of a difference handling this staff, but keeping runners, from running. They will not run on Martin. They will run on Michael McHenry. You and I were talking about that before the show. But I think he's made the biggest difference in the Pirates' performance. Pedro Alvarez is playing lights out. Let's not, sell him short. But I think really the early season MVP's Russell Martin.
Absolutely. I would that or Starling Marte. I think he should have went to the All-Star game.
I agree with you.
They were talking about Puig out in Los Angeles, and no doubt the kid's good. He's played 30 games.
Yeah, he's been in the league 5 minutes. He hasn't earned a position on an All-Star team as far as I'm concerned. I was listening to somebody on the Fan yesterday morning saying that baseball got it wrong, that they ruined the All-Star game by not putting him on the team. And, the All-Star game got ruined by Bud Selig back in 2003 when he let the game end in a tie. It lost any kind of relevance he had or an enjoyment, but Puig not being in the All-Star game didn't deter from the game at all.
He's hungry, man.
Whoa.
He's just on
Here, pass the fries.
auto fry.
Pass the fries.
Now we're talking
John.
positively about the Pirates,
Yeah.
so he doesn't say anything negative. He's eating.
He's eating, so he doesn't.
That's the other thing, talking positive about the Pirates. And I put this out on Facebook a couple weeks ago when, every time the Pirates lose 3 games in a row, here comes the collapse. I mean, are you kidding me? I get so tired of people. I mean, you play 162
You haven't seen
games.
my man. You haven't seen what he puts out there. Woo.
You play 162 games. Guess what? You're going to lose 3 in a row. It happens.
He sounds like me.
It's not a collapse.
No, you know what, John? I think some people are looking more forward to the possibility of another collapse, that they would enjoy that more than I'm just personally enjoying a great summer of baseball. I mean, every game, even the games that they don't win, they're in. The last 3 games that they lost, 1 hit and it makes a difference in the score of the game.
You got a handsome young man back there that's 6'5" that has never seen in his lifetime the Pittsburgh Pirates having a winning season.
I got a son at home
Open
like that
your eyes,
too.
young man. You'll see it happen this year.
We got to have faith. Hey, I've been drinking the Pirate Kool-Aid. I'm
It's
even
going
going
to
to lose
happen.
my dollar
Trust
bet.
me.
John, you know how I bet $1 that they don't break the streak. Well, I'm going to lose that $1. I'm not bringing it out tonight. But 56 wins out of 93 games. Look at what did they win? 57 games
In 2010.
Right. That's 3 years ago. That was their whole total of wins, Smoking Jim. And I think they won. What did they win? 6 games already in July or something.
Well, you know what, Alan?
So-
To speak to that point in 2010, and a friend of ours had made a statement one time that the Pirates had a culture of losing.
Yeah, they did.
And the way when they changed that culture was when they brought Clint Hurdle in. And he's gone through some growing pains the first 2 years.
He did.
But I'm telling you what, I think they've got it right. They've made some mistakes along the way. But he was the right man for this job.
Well,
There's
John
no
brought
question.
up a great point. You have a 162 game season. Now you have players that you can play like chess pieces instead of tiddlywinks like they had here. Because now you have people that are actually competent that they can bring in. So when I was a little upset that Hurdle's gut failed him at the end of the year, it was more that the players that he put in didn't produce. Like, look at it in football and everything. If you have the horses and they don't score or whatever, you don't win.
But the thing that he did most importantly is he didn't lambaste his players in the press. You know what he did?
Right.
He worked with those guys, and that's the
he
same
sat
guys
them
that
down,
collapsed
too,
last
when they
year
had to.
that are
Right.
making all the right moves this year. So I tip my hat to him because he's getting the most out of what he's got.
What do you think, John?
I'll tell you what, how about if you put Mike Tomlin and because they are the king of one-liner sound bites.
Right.
Those two could have a war of words with the sound bites.
Just
they
3
come up
words
with.
each time.
I love the one. Clint Hurdle, sometimes, his in-game strategy, I think we always play armchair quarterback.
And that's
But-
going to happen.
But he is, like he said last night, I saw him interviewed, and he was, what about all the people that say the collapse is coming? He said, you know what, I finally determined in my life that I can't control what people think, say, or do. So if they think the collapse is coming, let them think the collapse is coming. All I know is we're going to be here on whatever date it is, Friday, we're going to play baseball against the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah.
If you think the collapse is coming, keep thinking it. I love it. He always says, we shower well. When they have a bad game, that's one of his great sound bites. We shower well. They wash it off well in the shower.
Yeah. And
All
you know
the
what?
cream on their face.
Right, exactly.
I got it. I see that. Oh,
But
man.
he is a king of the sound bites, and I think he is. He's a perfect guy for the job. I've heard some say that he's going to put this back together and move on. I don't think he's going to move on personally.
I don't, I tell you what, if he brings a winner in, this season, he could basically punch his own ticket. I mean, I think he's going to stay because the organization's moving in the right direction, and I think, this team can win the way they're stacked, the minor league system. It can win moving forward year after year and be a contender. And it's an amazing thing to do because it can happen. The Oakland A's are proof of that a small market team can be competitive and be playoff caliber team year in and year out against the teams like the Yankees, the Angels, the Dodgers that are spending $225 million every year.
Look at the Brewers, what they did in a small market. Look at Miami when they had money. When Miami had money, they won it all.
I think Ryan Braun knows about platelet-rich injections.
Yeah.
I think he was doing that synthetic testosterone.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
where do you
testosterone,
get
but
that?
But it's not really testosterone.
It's synthetic,
Well,
and
you
it
wanna
shows
know,
up.
I heard a really funny comment from Bud Selig today, and he said, baseball's cleaner now than it's ever been. But, you know, and he made that comment at a press conference today. Yet, sometime by the end of the week, there's allegedly 30 players are going to get massive suspensions for their being caught up in that biogenesis thing. So if the league is cleaner now than it's ever been, why are so many people going to get whacked?
Hold it, Chip. You said a key thing. Bud Selig said it. He's reading the memo that he's supposed to read on Friday or Saturday.
Yeah.
He just read it a little early. He can't help it.
Here's an interesting point about all these names that are going to come out. Now, Ryan Braun he's the band leader, right? Well, somewhere in his heart of hearts, he knows if he's truly guilty or not, right? So if he comes out as one of those names, and if I'm him and I know I'm guilty, the right thing for him to do for his team is to bite the bullet, say, I did wrong, take the suspension now when they're out of it, and get it over with this season.
Right.
I venture to guess a guy, he strikes me as a real prideful guy, never going to admit he did anything wrong, and he's going to try to bite the bullet, appeal the process, and maybe end up being suspended for the beginning of next year and totally ruin another year for his team. It'll be interesting to see if any of those guys come out and say, hey, you know what? I fess up, I'm dirty,
Well,
let's get it out of the way now.
I heard that they had Major League Baseball had a meeting with Alex Rodriguez and his team of
4
attorneys
hours.
yesterday, and they laid out all the information that they've got against him, and he walked out of there with kind of a sour look on his face. And they've got enough, from what I understand, they've got enough evidence against him to suspend him for life, but they're negotiating like a 150-game suspension on him. Now, here's a guy that's 39 years old. He's going to be 39 soon. What do you think that kind of a suspension is going to do? And you know, the kicker of it all, he's got a guaranteed contract. So if they suspend him for 150 days, he's still making $30 million.
Well, they can get out of that.
Now,
I think the Yankees can get out of that. The Yankees are hoping he's...
$30 million can buy you some pretty good attorneys. You know, that'll be litigated
good
from
still,
now
it's
until
true.
the end of the
It has.
the end of time.
And whatever clear and whatever other things that they come up that beat.
Clear or the cream.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're not artificial or anything. So.
No. And when you take them, you don't even know you're taking them. That's the greatest thing about it.
I
if
know
you
you're
take the
not.
clip-
Your head size
Yeah.
didn't get 3
When
times
Barry's head
bigger
blew
since
up
you've
like
been
a
here.
pumpkin.
Right, when you take, it's the cool thing about the clear or the cream. You take it, you know you're taking it, but you really don't know you're taking it.
Makes
like
sense.
Barry Bonds and Gary Sheffield.
Makes sense in
I
a
had no
nonsensical way here. I appreciate that. Definitely. You straighten us out. Now back to your baseball picks. How's it look for the second half with you? Because we're going to bring you on before the end of the season. I just wanted to know where you're going with some of this stuff before we let you go and take care of the dogs.
Yeah, the dogs are waiting.
Yeah, I think I hear 'em.
Here's two fantasy geek statistics that are really important, I think, for the Pirates.
All right,
And
lay it out there for the people.
right now, if you watched the Cardinals last night, their batting average with runners in scoring position is something off the charts, like about 287.
Right.
Pirates right now 232 with runners in scoring position, 219 with runners in scoring position, and 2 outs.
I want to interrupt you though. Last year they had one of the highest averages with runners in scoring position the first half. So I was hoping
Maybe it'll
that they
flip-flop.
did the opposite this year, and so far they are. So I'm still on the bandwagon with that. Now carry on there, but that's
Maybe-
my theory on that.
And that would be great if it flip-flopped, because you just can't win games 2-1, 3-2 all year long. Eventually that stuff is going to catch up to you. Other statistics. Now this is one of those sabermetric statistics.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty cool. It's called BABIP, B-A-B-I-P, batting average for balls in play.
Okay.
What that sort of measures in layman's terms is how lucky are you. So for every
Okay.
time you put, it backs out strikeouts, for every time you put the ball in play, how many times, what's your batting average? Well, they are currently the lowest in the league at 269, which in layman's terms sort of translates into they are the unluckiest team in the league. When they put it in play, it's always finding a glove, which to go to your point,
My point.
if both of these things turn around, if their runners in scoring position turns around, and BABIP is just that's a pure percentage thing. Over long periods of time, it should normalize.
It all reverts to the mean.
Yep.
Everything reverts back to
Exactly.
the mean.
So
Not to
those-
get geekish back at you.
Right, not to be mean, but
No,
yeah,
no.
if those two things go back and work against or work for us in the second half, hopefully the offense can get back into
When
shape.
the pitching gets a little
yeah,
weaker.
hopefully the pitching stays right where
Well,
it's at.
No,
But-
the thing that tips that scale is you got statistics there about what the pitching staff's doing, because I believe in the last 27 games the team ERA is even under 3, even though they are leading Major League Baseball with I believe it was a 3.07 ERA team ERA.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody keeps saying, well, they overwork the bullpen, and I don't doubt that. I mean, I would like to see Clint let some of those guys go a little bit deeper, but I mean, he has progressively, like Jeff Locke, he's got a longer leash now. Garrett Cole, he just doesn't trust completely. But I mean, you've got a great bullpen, you use them.
Well,
And
you
he
know, it's
has.
one of the things that drives me crazy about Major League Baseball and this pitch count thing. You know, look at what was it the other night? The
Lincecum.
freak, Tim Lincecum.
148
It's 148 pitches, and he threw a no-hitter, and they left him in. I was shocked when I found out he threw that many pitches, and the manager didn't yank him, even though he was throwing a no-hitter. But I mean, you know, that's old school right there. You know, they don't let pitchers throw more than 100 to 115 pitches, and they're pulling them out anymore.
Here's my favorite prospect, although he's not one of the top prospects, Tyler Glasnow. He's ranked 17th for the Pirates right now. Kids, listen, he needs to eat a little bit, though, I think. He's 6'7", 195, 19 years old. He's a pitcher for the West Virginia Power.
Really?
But listen to these
Wow.
numbers, though. ERA of 2.48. He's pitched 76 innings. He's only given up 40 hits in those
Wow,
76
that's
innings.
great.
He's walked 43, and he's struck out 110
Holy
in
cow.
76 innings.
Well, he's not quite 2 per
He
inning.
sounds like another kind of a version
Well-
of Randy Johnson.
Yeah.
They say he could be Tyon, a little junior Tyon. Right now, you sort of don't know where the ball's going all the time.
Yep.
But he strikes out everybody when he's putting the ball over
Well,
the
being
plate.
that big, you got a nice downward angle, and the ball spends less time in the hitting zone because it's not coming in flat like this; it's coming in like this.
But yeah, if you look up him on MILB, man, he is always throwing great games, lots of strikeouts, and he's in A-ball, and he's only
Nice.
19. So if he goes to high A, usually when they get to high A, that's a big step going from single A to high A.
Who else do you have? And we're
Who
going to
else?
wrap this up with you, buddy.
Give you one more. Well, the big name that everybody talks about, Gregory Polanco.
Yeah, what's the
And-
story there? In your book.
In my book,
Yeah, I trust your book today.
6'4", 170. He's 21 years old. Right now, his OPS is about 836 in Double A. 6 home runs, 30 RBIs. They say that he legitimately could possibly be in PNC next year,
Really?
second half of the season. That's a little bit of a stretch because he's only 21, but he's 6'4", 170. He's supposed to be that anchor in right field, power, average,
Right.
great arm.
Is he the real deal then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now the question is he one of those real deal prospects that they
I
send
believe
off?
he's the number 4 ranked prospect in our system right now.
Yep, number 4. And he's been named in some of those trades to get other
Sure.
big names to come in.
Right.
Yeah, you know, I've heard about them having, you know, looking forward to having an outfield of Polanco, McCutcheon, and Marte at the same time, and you know, that sounds intriguing.
Yeah, they talked a little bit about getting Giancarlo Stanton, but that price is going to be so sky
That was
high.
started by a writer from ESPN that just put that out there as a wish, because the Marlins have said that he's untouchable. They're building around him. He's not available. But
Yeah, they would be crazy to trade him because their fan base would lose it.
Well, it's nice to have you back on the show. We're going to have you again before the end of the season.
Absolutely.
Get the update on your teams. It's always a pleasure
Absolutely.
with your insights and your geekish statistics.
Oh,
BABIP.
your hair, it hasn't moved since we started.
Thanks. Azazu Salon, see Marianne on
There you
Tuesdays. And say hi to Emilio for me when you see him down on Fifth Avenue.
Did they shave heads there too, you think?
For you, just mention my name.
Okay.
Not a problem. You may get a discount where they charge you double.
Nice.
Double.
Double. Cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Hey, thanks for having me.
Take care of the dogs.
Thanks
It's
for
a
coming,
pleasure.
Thanks, guys. Love talking baseball with you, John. Pleasure.
All right.
And now we're going to go to our halftime segment. And we'll talk with Chip the Prophet Hayner, Smoking Jim Frazier, and who knows, maybe somebody else will come up out of the fans here. I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine, if you forgot. Smoking Jim Frazier with the cupcakes. Chip the Prophet Hayner. We covered a lot of baseball, guys. What else do you got in the sports world you might want to mention to the folks?
I'm glad you brought that up, Alan, because I was, this is Smoking Jim's forte. When we talk baseball, he's, kind of surprisingly quiet. But, we've got the Steelers. The Steelers go to training camp in about 10 days. And, thinking about the Steelers this year, and I know Jim was not, has gone on record as not being very impressed with the most recent draft classes, and then he's also not very impressed with Mikey's coaching abilities. But this year the Steelers season, I'm actually going into the Steelers season with actually no expectations, because there are just so many questions about every different facet of the game, from the linebackers, the defensive line, the safeties, and then we've got an offensive line that's got a lot to prove to us. Do we have a running back? And I mean, is Antonio Brown a number one receiver? With Mike Wallace on the other side, he was able to be an All-Pro, but how's he going to do it being the man? The only thing that we can count on is Ben Roethlisberger is going to keep us in more games than we probably have a right to be, just because of his ability to create. But I know we'll be getting into this over the next few weeks, because we'll delve into training camp and everything. But that's what's on my mind as far as that goes. Is all the questions that need to be answered about the Steelers this year.
Definitely. How about you, Smoking Jim? You got any insights since I crushed these fries?
I just want everybody to know. I tell you what, our two camera people, Aaron Ward and Devin Shea, I tell you what, we could not afford these folks, and they come out and they volunteer and they do a great job. Please give them a hand.
I want to thank them for making us look so good on TV. We get a lot of rave reviews. They want to know who those people are. And thanks again to BPTV for letting us put on a show outside the neighborhood to help promote the community. We appreciate it. And that's it for our halftime show. We got a couple more guests here.
Well, I tell you what, I don't know how in the world we were able to get him to come here. I call him the voice. I tell you what, if you watch boxing and you hear the guy that says, "Let's get ready to rumble," he can't touch my main man. 8-time world champion Roy Jones Jr. said he's the best ring announcer he's ever seen. And I tell you what, I gotta agree. Please put your hands together for my good friend Frank Mergen. He got a little brother in him too.
Oh, yes.
Oh, look at that shirt. Arriba, Clemente. Another Pirate fan. You're welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming to the
Smoking
show.
Jim, you're the man. Way too kind for the thing. Happy birthday to the 40-year-old Smoking Jim.
Oh, wait. No.
Again.
He's 29.
No, 29.
He's 29, yeah, 29.
I
Yeah.
didn't recognize Jim when I walked in, because
he's
there wasn't
still
like
in his
1,000
prime.
ladies around him.
Well,
He's still in his prime.
you're going to have to watch some of our other shows, because not only is he a great NFL scout, but he's a scout of the models.
Oh, yeah.
He has modeling agencies all over the city. It doesn't matter. He will travel, and I get a segue into ladies' night at Sips Sports Bar. Dollar drinks for the ladies because of Smoking Jim Frazier. The establishment here has set that up and it's working out pretty well. So
It is working.
If they let me behind the bar, I'm going to concoct a special drink called the Smoking
Wednesday
Jim
night.
Yeah, my first time at Sips in probably 20 years.
Right, you were
I've been here.
saying that. What do you think of the
It
place?
looks great. It looks great. It was fantastic. Sports memorabilia up here. The new owner has done a great job with this place. I love it. It looks completely different.
I told you, it looks a lot brighter, doesn't it?
Yeah, very nice. Great windows. Looking out on West Liberty Avenue, but
3024.
Thank you for having me.
Oh.
I appreciate it.
I've heard you over the years, and one of my questions is when people are doing certain jobs, how did you get started being a ring announcer?
It was very, very random. I had, the Roy Jones TNT Promotions were bringing boxing into town, and they were having I think their first fight was at Rivers Casino on the water.
Right.
And I just went down to check it out because I'm a boxing fan. And I was watching the weigh-ins, and I went to the fight the next night. And I do some MC work. I do public speaking for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, which is very near and dear to me. I'm a ham. I like to get on a microphone. So, I mean,
Never
a
noticed.
loud voice.
Never
yeah, right.
noticed.
Yeah, right.
Watched you for years.
Yeah, so after the first fight, I went up to one of my friends, a guy named Mike Simon. He's a lawyer in West Virginia. He also now is an NFL agent for VMG Sports.
Ah, okay.
They're local here. They bought DeBartolo Sports.
Really?
Yeah, so they're a new local sports agency in town. They handle Chris Ivory, a guy Wimper who's on the Steelers, a bunch of other guys I can't remember.
Well, you're on air and it's
Travis
live,
Kelce.
so-
Yeah, Travis Kelce from Cincinnati. He was out in Cincinnati. Derek Wolf. Great, Derek. So I got a local guy. I went to Mike Simon. He's involved with TNT Sports, and Troy Ridgely and all those guys, the Yankellos from Yankello Boxing. I went up to Mike. I go, "This is a great little product here." I go, "I want to be your ring announcer." He goes, "I go, no, I'm going to be your ring announcer. I just want to do that. I really want to do that." And he called me like 2 days later. He goes, "Hey, you're our ring announcer." I go, "What? Do I need to call
You
anybody?"
talk about planting a seed. You put too much fertilizer on that.
I guess so. I had full lube. I had the full lube. It was
Okay.
crazy.
It worked out.
So Mike
and that's
Simon
what got you started.
Yeah, Mike Simon was very instrumental. Introduced me to Troy Ridgely. Introduced me to Troy, Roy Jones.
Yeah.
And they didn't even give me an audition or anything. I never did it before. The first one I did was, at Rivers Casino or Stage AE. We did one. It was
Yeah.
a Thanksgiving Feast of Fist or something like that. And
Whatever it was.
I
We'll
just
check
winged
the
it.
videos.
Yeah, I just winged it, and again,
you're
I've done
awesome.
a lot of public speaking, and I got a loud voice, and I study all the great, Michael Buffer and Jimmy Lennon Jr. So I was nervous. I studied it. I watched so much boxing,
Right.
and just slow motion, all their, and how you're supposed to read it in order in the cards, and it was just. It was fantastic. I don't know. And everybody wants me to get a catchphrase. I don't have a catchphrase, so I need a catchphrase.
That's what I was going to ask.
I don't
We'll
have
work on it for you because we
Yes.
come up with so much stuff here.
Yeah, I didn't want to. People had given me some, and I don't want to have a catchphrase until it's right. Or if someday maybe I'd be on TV,
Right.
ESPN or HBO or something like that. And I want it to be right. I want it to be not cheesy. So I
Right.
still don't have one.
So you don't want a lot of cheese.
I don't want a lot of cheese.
Okay.
Unlike my man Grilly.
Right.
And Mark and Cheese.
You're
tomorrow night.
wearing the Pirates, so you
I'm
got to talk
excited.
a little.
Everybody who knows me knows I be and moan about the Pirates because I want them to win.
Right.
And I can be a little bit negative, but I am on board. I'm fully on board this year.
You can be disgruntled, like I call it.
Yeah.
I'm a disgruntled fan who's on the bandwagon
Yeah.
since
I've been
Chip
on the
gave
band-
me. He gave me some great Kool-Aid on our show, and that got me on the bandwagon.
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid.
And it's sweet now.
I've been a lifelong Pirates fan.
Is there vodka in that Kool-Aid, Chip? 'Cause I'll take one. Randy,
Brandy, can he get a
some of Chip's Kool-Aid with some vodka in there?
kettle one with great Kool-Aid?
Exactly. And that's how I met Smoking Jim, actually, by ring announcing.
Really?
Yeah, man. I got to meet so many great people, and Roy Jones is a great guy, and the Yankellos. I actually I do a little boxing training, not training, just working out at Tom Yankello's
okay.
gym in Ambridge. Me and Jimmy Kren, my good friend Jim
Who's
Kren.
that Jimmy Kren? I miss him.
Jimmy Kren, yes, from
Where is
formerly
he?
of
Where is
WBC.
he?
I haven't listened to DVE since they got rid of him.
That's my man right there.
I don't know if
I
he,
haven't either.
Yeah.
and he didn't before. He
Yeah.
hasn't heard him any more or any less. But I miss him, and we shared a little bit. To me, he's just a super Pittsburgh guy. And
was
he
the
just
best.
promotes the city so much. He does so much good out there. And it's just like they kicked him to the curb
Yeah.
with corporate America. Not to get into this too much. And
Yeah.
you didn't know that till you met me here, but I always listen to DVE, and now I can't remember Except maybe in between some other station, I'll get on there and I go, oh, where's
I'm
Kren
telling you what,
at?
I can't listen to the DVE morning show
No,
anymore. Jimmy was morning radio in Pittsburgh. The second greatest, I mean, you figure all the years that Cigna was on the radio and KDKA, Kren's right up there with him.
Hold it, I go back to Jack Bogut.
Yeah.
I go to Jack Bogut now, buddy. I used to, when I had my paper route
Yeah,
in the
man.
morning, I'd hear Jack Bogut.
Yeah, Jack Bowen and the Farkleberry Frump over at the,
Yeah.
for the winter in the Horns
The tarts,
window.
yeah.
Yeah,
We're
Jimmy's an awesome
reminiscing
guy.
a little bit.
We are. I know it's
But
off sports, but
Jimmy-
Jimmy's a great guy. Jim Kren's very kind, very gentle. He's got a great new podcast called Jim Kren No Restrictions.
I'm gonna have to check it out once we learn this.
We're gonna get Jimmy down
Can
here.
he get the podcast?
Hold it, this is a
on
dumb
here?
phone. Don't show my dumb phone.
Oh, he's got a dumb phone. You can only get it on a smartphone. Yeah.
I got a dumb phone, buddy, but I was good enough to call and get texts from you.
That's right.
I went
You got
home
me.
on my computer on Facebook, gave you the location and everything. You showed
Yeah.
up.
We're gonna blow this thing up, man. I'm
This
so
is
happy
awesome.
to be here.
We
Yeah.
want you back again, too.
Yeah, I'll come
Can you
back.
fit it in your schedule?
Yeah,
We'll
you know-
highlight you as one of the first half guests.
Yes, I'll blow it up.
With
I'll
you
blow it up.
promoting us like that, we don't mind shameless promotions, as you understand.
Yeah, well, you're a great guy, Alan. I met you through the boxing and through Smoking Jim and through Facebook.
Definitely.
And Chip, now, nice to meet Chip. So
And you
Pleasure
were all
to meet you,
suited
too.
up when I met you, but I had heard you for years.
Yeah.
And some of your different things, and with cystic fibrosis, because I do a lot of charity,
Yeah, it's
different things too out there in fundraising. So
phenomenal organization. I'm very proud to be their.
well, I
public
always
speaker.
ask people to do things like that. What else do you have going on fundraising that you want to promote, or anything that you have going on you'd like to at least promote here?
Well-
because we are seen on Verizon 32 everywhere. We're on YouTube, and then there's some fans that are waiting. We got Chris and his son. They got to go to Pittsburgh Sports Line on Facebook and friend us and like us. We're at 362 and we're holding steady. They're drinking heavily in the bar every time I mention that. In case you didn't know, Frank, if you had that Kettle One and grape Kool-Aid, you have to drink with Pittsburgh Sports Line on Facebook whenever it's mentioned. My record's about 12 times on the air.
Is that right?
I'm not repetitive at all.
Sometimes, no. Well, thank you. I mean, promotion-wise, again,
Yeah, what's going on with you?
I do a lot of work with Pittsburgh's 50 Finest, which is an affiliation with the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. They're currently raising money from April to August. There are events pretty much every night. Small happy hours, small fundraisers.
I get
5,
invited
10,
to a bunch
yeah.
of their events there.
Come on out. They're great fundraisers for, we're raising money. There used to be no cure for cystic fibrosis.
Right.
Now there's a 4% cure for a certain mutation.
Type of it.
Yeah. So the money's working. We're gonna cure it, and I want to be there that day. And we raise a glass.
Yes, sir.
Cure
Absolutely.
So if you follow me or get in touch with these guys, you'll see all the events that I help promote.
You'll see his smiling face on the show, and I'll keep thanking him for everything he's done and what he already has done, and all this video and the pictures, and
You're welcome to come back anytime.
definitely.
Thank you. I'll bring some of my team with me. We got Tunch, we got Wolf,
There you
Chris
go.
Hoke, Tom Bradley. I promote the Grateful Free podcast.
I like talking Penn State. My daughter graduated from Penn State, did that in 4 years, so I'm proud of her. I saw one football game up there. I wish I would have saw more.
I've been to one. It was amazing.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, you have to go to at least when I saw them play Nebraska back in 2002 and 110,000 people, it was live. It was the third largest city in Pennsylvania that day.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's amazing.
Thank you so much for
It
having
is.
me. All of you guys. Chip, Jim, Alan.
Hey, it's
Really,
a pleasure.
Thank you, Sips. All you great guys. Brandy. Brandy. she's-
And Kelly there.
Hold on 1 second before he leaves. How many shows is this for Sips?
For Sips, this is number 23.
Number 23, we don't do this that often. This is only the second time I'm officially inducting Frank into the Sips Sports Bar Hall of Fame. Number second inductee of all time. Congratulations, Frank.
Thank you, Jimmy. All I can say is,
Say-
can you dig it? Thank you, guys.
How do we top that?
How do I get out of here? I never know when to say goodbye. I'm leaving.
Oh, wait. Here, sit back down.
Great job, Frank.
And now we're saving our guy, Little Z. He just dug a septic tank. He was 30 feet underground.
Wow.
Oh, maybe he wasn't. I don't know. I heard rumors. I don't know where, but look at him. He just cleaned up real well. Little Z.
No cleanup.
My brother.
Just wash my hands for you guys.
Oh man, what is that smell?
He was down there deep with all the homestead rats.
You know what? I think he's ripe tonight, folks. Look at the head. He was in the jungle. Little
Feels
Z,
like
how
it.
are you, buddy?
Good. How you gentlemen doing tonight?
We're doing great.
Doing
I'd have
great,
brought
Jack.
one of my shirts to give you a fresh shirt, buddy, if I'd have known. I didn't think you were going to make it.
Hey,
This
cut it
Hall of
close.
Famer, there's no quit in him. I'm telling you.
I'm not a Hall of Famer yet.
I read
Oh,
that
future.
cryptic tag.
I'm a
I read
future
that
Hall of
cryptic
Famer.
post on Facebook today about will the streak continue? Stay tuned.
It was in jeopardy. It was in serious jeopardy.
I was in contact with him. He was underwater, I heard. So.
If it wasn't for my pops, who's out in the truck right now, waiting
Is
for
it?
his
Bring him
meatball
in.
hoagie.
Bring him in.
Man, he's dirtier than me
That's
right now.
all right. He can come in here. Any Brenner, they're welcome. I see them all over the city.
That's
You
it.
know that. I run into Brenners and cousins of Brenners, and I can't go anywhere now. Well, let's get to sports. What do you think it is? You watching that home
El
run?
Toro.
Yeah.
Is he going to hit
5
any
or
home
more.
runs?
I say more
I
than
said
5.
0.
No. You're another optimist. Wow.
I set the bar at 0.
Where's he at? I'm looking
I didn't know
for
how
him.
many pitches he was going to get, but I was sure a couple of them are just going to be line
He
drives.
has a friend from the neighborhood pitching to him.
He might strike out.
I don't know if you guys got to talk about this yet until I got here, but I just saw.
We'll tell you if we
I just
did.
saw a picture of the Pouncey brothers with Free Hernandez
We're not
hats on.
talking about negativity
Really?
there.
Well, they played together at Florida.
They did play together
yeah.
at Florida State, but I think it's a little premature to have
Yeah.
Free Hernandez.
Well,
hats
they
on.
did retract some of that.
Especially when one of the shootings he's being investigated on, and it happened in Florida. They were at the nightclub with him that night.
Oh, really?
Really?
Them Florida Gators stick together.
Well, they may
I
hang
wouldn't be trying
together.
to
Same-
track that
same
kind
thing
of
with-
attention to myself. I don't
Those
want
aren't
them
the
to
only
escape on
Gators.
me.
Those Gateway Gators stick together too.
Whoa! Always the Steel
Hey,
Valley
I
against
don't know
the
if I've
Gateway
even told you,
Gators.
gentlemen, but
Whoa.
breaking news.
Okay.
For the Mighty Mites of the Still Valley Ironman Midget Football Association, I'm a new coach in the league. And guess who? Last year was the reason why they had to forfeit in the playoffs. A gentleman by the name of Shafino
steady,
Hood was on the team last year that I'm inheriting that went 9-1. So we don't have him anymore.
Listen to what happened.
He's playing for them elites in Penn Hills. So I don't know how Smoking Jim feels about that. Penn Hills and Gateway are like
Rivals.
We're still in the process of recruiting Jalen.
Well, I'm happy to
Hood.
report that Still Valley just jumped into the mix because young Jalen is playing in the Project Chuck Hoop League down on 16th Avenue in
Are
Homestead.
you're not working on them, are you, to stay in?
Oh, yeah, and there's a rumor
the
that number
neighborhood.
16 may be coming to Sip Sports Bar to pay Smoking Jim a visit on
Charlie
behalf of
Badge,
Still Valley
all
Ironman.
Well,
He got a lot of free time on his hand.
stay tuned, folks, for that one. But Jalen was one of our best guests ever in our top 10
Yeah.
that I would rate him, and he's
yeah.
only 10 years old. Not
Well, he
that I
was
use.
9 last year.
Well, he's 10 with us, and he did quite the performance. And so what if he got caught? There's guys that played Little League Baseball that were 25 years old, pitching no-hitters. So at least he wasn't 25 playing. He
They're
only
saying
lived,
that
maybe he was right
powerhouse-
across the line, because Smoking Jim knows the line there.
Well, Penn Hills is about to break into two football
Oh, is it?
leagues in Penn Hills. They got that one that he was wearing the jersey for.
Yeah, and then the Bantams.
Correct.
Yeah.
So they're going to be split up in half. So
Maybe Smoking Jim will
Yeah,
be
we got
coaching
our
there.
scouts. We got our scouts in
I was
Penn
looking
Hills.
at the schedule too, and I got excited for a minute because I saw Gateway was on the list, but we don't play Gateway this year because I was going to pay to have Bethel Park TV come out and tape that.
We only
Still
go to
Valley.
places like Murraysville, Dormont, Plum. We don't go there.
East Liberty,
And
They
that's
don't
funny
cross
because the
Dormont
Pittsburgh-
Beaches.
When you
Pittsburgh
drive
Force-
over, they don't cross the river.
The Pittsburgh Force play their home games at the home of the
They sure
Ironman
do.
at
They
the
sure
Campbell
do.
Field,
Yeah,
Still
they
Valley.
do.
So let's not forget that, folks.
We didn't forget him.
Even though the Force has been absent the last couple of weeks,
Well, may the force be with you.
I may be a
We're
minority
gonna come
owner
to
of the Force.
We're gonna come to some games, man,
I'm
just for
going to be
you.
the minority owner of the Force here shortly.
Really?
Yeah, they got some trouble. They need me.
Well, Craig, their financial guy's been here each week, so
I may need my bodyguard, Chris Rutter, when I come to Steel Valley, though. But I'm coming to some games.
well, I heard that you guys
All
are
you
going.
need is your Brenner contracting shirt, and you're good.
Speaking of that Brenner contracting shirt, I was out around the neighborhood and I had my black Brenner contracting shirt on, and I happened to see this old firehouse. The door was open, So I'm driving by. I pulled right in, and there's Ted Sr. and the real Ted Jr., who grew about 2 inches.
He did.
And they're in the gym, and just them two. And they're boxing. He's training them and everything else. He showed
They're
me the
getting ready for
facility.
the Ohio State Fair, and they have a fight coming up here.
Well, that's what I want to announce while we're doing this, since Brenner Contracting helps promote that gym, and JB, who's not really Ted Jr., and Big Ted said he's not offended by that, so we covered that ground. So everything's okay.
JT wasn't there?
No,
JT's
JT's traveling.
in New York
He's
right
in
now.
New York going to every gym possible, and they've thrown him out of almost every one of them. He got to get permission, and we're not going to go there. But on the 21st at the Royal Place, there's boxing from Pittsburgh Boxing Club, which is right at the bottom of Maytide and 51. And they got the Jersey barriers up because I tried to pull in there, and I couldn't get in the gym that way.
Well, the
right
ring,
by the side.
The ring would kind of stop you a little bit.
But it is a nice facility. I
Not the
did check
Jersey
it out.
barriers.
It is. It's a very nice facility. Best amateur boxing gym in the city, Ted Marconia.
Yeah, I agree.
Good friend of Brenner Contracting. You'll see a lot of me there at the Royal Place.
Right, and he saw the shirt. He recognized the shirt. I was
Old
representing.
Smoking Jimmy's good in Clareton, Homestead, Munhall,
Hold it,
West
wait.
Homestead,
Did you say Clareton?
Wilson.
Because they hate him there.
That's a little byproduct of Clareton.
I got to disagree about the Clareton. I don't think even Brenner Contracting
Brenner
can
was
get him
born
back.
in Clareton.
They hold it. They
In the
wanted
mills
it.
of Clareton, Brenner bleeds Clareton.
Yeah, but that's Brenner.
You put that Brenner on your
This
back and
is
you're good in
smoking
Clareton.
Jim Frazier.
But I must warn you, if you put the black T-shirt on with the BC on your chest, that's kind of like a target, man. That's like a bullseye.
Okay,
so
I'll
wear
wear-
the polo with the symbol on this side. and
Because
you'll
it's
make
in
it.
gold. You can
Correct.
go for the gold.
Correct.
I ain't worried. Them brothers from Clareton can't shoot.
Yeah, but they shoot off in there, buddy. A lot of nines are in the house.
They just have a habit of winning state titles in football.
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of disrespect from
And I
certain
tell you
people.
what, if Thomas Jefferson ever absorbs Clareton, we're gonna have one powerhouse story for Smoking Jim to write about in his newspaper that they won't let me get
And
or read.
and in Jefferson there'll be a whole lot of for sale signs going up.
Hey, it might be inevitable, man.
Well, here, I got to go back to boxing since the Yankello name was mentioned a couple times here.
I just did Jared's. That's who I just
Well, how about I'm doing a little thing with a movie or something the other night, and I get this
did.
text.
Movie.
Yeah,
We weren't invited.
buddy, this is another gig going on.
Okay,
Yeah.
you keep all your side gigs private to yourself.
No,
I see
no.
how he is. Smoking Jim.
I
That's
do.
a real brother move.
Well, I was invited. I was invited. I was invited to do this movie. It's only a 4 to 7 minute movie, but it took hours and a couple days to film. Our man Martin is a filmmaker,
You got
producer,
the mustache
songwriter.
for some certain movies.
Oh, thanks, buddy. This is a family show, public access TV. Some of the comments are, whatever. You know what it is. He's talking like that. But anyhow, I get a text. A guy goes to me, Al, you won 2 tickets to go to Mountaineer and watch the boxing matches.
Who sent you that text?
Little Z, on the dumb phone. I'm looking at it in the middle of a shoot. It wasn't with guns. I'm like, what is this?
Hey, so to be clear, folks watching at home, let's keep track of this. Smoking Jim is building a building, and Brenner Contracting hasn't been called. And Al
That's
Levine
my
is in a
bad.
movie,
That's my
and Brenner
bad.
Contracting hasn't been called. But
That's
Brenner
my bad.
Contracting calls these guys for everything and anything.
Hold it a
Just
second.
telling Aaron I gotta hire you for some
Do
stuff.
you have a pool and you haven't invited me on the hottest days of the year? Instead, Al, you won tickets. Yankello said you're sharing all the stuff on Facebook.
I didn't think you guys
Great
came
job.
to- would
He
come
goes,
to Homestead and
I
swim.
said I
We're
went
one of the
to
only
Kyoto's before you were born. They had all kind of whatever on there, from bras to jock straps. That's what they covered.
That was
Mystery
one,
sandwich.
That was one of the best Pittsburgh
the mystery
bars of all
sandwich.
time, Coyotes.
I had friends that
Right
would
at
try
the
to
end of the
finish that
Homestead Highway
sandwich
Bridge.
there.
And
So.
I'm proud to have
Big
grown
Dan
up with
Moore,
them folks.
Pittsburgh sports
Shout out to
memorabilia
Sam
and
Kyoto.
anywhere you
Well,
ever
we're
see.
covering so much territory that we got to end this show on a happy note that you gave a shout out to Kyoto, who we
And-
call
and-
Chioda,
And the mystery sandwich.
The
and the
sandwich.
mystery sandwich. Where's the recipe at? It was delicious. But thanks, folks. Thanks, BPTV. Thanks to Sip Sports Bar for letting us put on this show. Thanks for the great guests we've had. And watch us on Verizon 32, YouTube,
Happy birthday, Jim Frazier.
And his real birthday is on the 17th.
I want to check his birth certificate, those Gateway guys.
29 again.
29 years old. I ain't seen it. Fine.
See you next week.